This is Through the Fire and Flames. My name is...
What?
No, that's
Just
our,
keep going. Just keep
that's
going.
our philosophical conversation. That's what we're going to call it, right?
All right.
Through the Fire and Flames. We have here Kyle Eldridge. My name is Alex Overby. I'm going to question Kyle on a couple of big issue questions. All right. The first one is a hard hitter, Kyle. It is: how can evil exist in the world and there be a God who is just?
Well, that's a hard question to tackle, but I'm gonna tackle it. I'm just gonna get right in there and I'm gonna Monty Teo it, you know. Well, you see, sometimes people do things that we get ashamed of.
Like
These
what?
wrongdoings.
Like
They're
what?
called wrongdoings.
What's an example of a wrongdoing? Just for the audience to know what a wrongdoing is.
Say like, you were told by the law to not drink and drive, and then you went and drank and you drove.
Right.
That would be a wrongdoing.
Okay.
Because it is against the law.
Right.
And that is just it's just not something you're supposed to do. It's for the safety of yourself and of others.
So why can't I break the law and there still be a just God? Wouldn't a just God stop me from breaking the law?
No, he's just because he's faithful and enough to forgive us. try to make some sense.
That was brilliant. That was really good. You really brought insight into that big philosophical question. Okay, here's a good one. I think you'll enjoy this, audience. How do you know you're not in a dream right now?
How do I know I'm not in a dream right now?
How do you know you're not the only one in existence? Because if you're thinking, you are. I think, therefore I am, right? So you're thinking right now. Ow.
I'm not dreaming.
How do you know? How do you know? How do you know you didn't imagine that? How do you know you're not?
I'm not imagining, am I?
Wow, you really solved that question. Okay, now here's a fun question, but it has huge consequences. How would being a fish better your life?
How would being a fish better my life?
Right.
Well, I'd never have to worry about money.
That's a good point.
That's a huge
But
that's a huge stress in life. That's like the number one thing when you're going out of high school and college. Everybody stresses money. If you were a fish,
wouldn't you have to worry about sharks then?
A shark is a fish, isn't it?
That's a pretty good point. That's what I
You
would
said
have
you're
to
not a
know.
shark.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Okay.
Next question.
Final question.
Next question.
Final question. All right, this is a serious one. Okay.
And the others haven't been.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Here we go. Here we go. You ready? Is the clock? They say time is relative, right? Is the clock measuring itself based on our view of time, or is it measuring
Or is
time?
it like physically time?
Or is it actually, yes, is it time? Is it actually measuring the objective sense of time?
Time.
Time.
You see, time is a thing you can't take too lightly. There's never enough of it. And if you just stress yourself over worrying about time, then, I mean, it's obviously relative. It's obviously relative.
Why? How do you know it's relative?
Because time, to me, my
No,
time would
I
be
don't wanna
different
know
to
what it
your
is.
time.
Okay, but do we have
Say,
do we have the common
tell
view
me-
of the
tell
hour?
me- Tell me you want to meet me somewhere to eat for lunch or something, 1 o'clock at Zaxby's.
Right.
When do I show up?
You show up about 1:30.
Okay. So it's relative. My time is relative to each of us.
But I think you just
Your 1 o'clock is my 1:30.
But that's not right, because you just agreed that you show up at 1:30, despite agreeing to show up at 1. I acknowledge that you show up at 1:30, So do you. You acknowledge that you show up at 1:30.
Speed it up.
What if I said I showed up at 1:27 though?
Wouldn't that be my 1:27 too?
Okay, end it.
Mind blowing. This has been Through the Fire and Flames. Back at you next week.
Nicely done.